Imagine being able to take one design and making it into 5 different designs for multiple different purposes for your business. That's what we call working smarter and not harder. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I took this one masterclass slide cover and made it into 5 different graphics for my business to help to promote it so that you can steal my process and my strategy and repurpose any graphic you need for your business. Let's dive in. So let's look at how we can take this masterclass cover and make it into, I'm going to read my list, a mock-up image, an Instagram post or any social media post you want, an Instagram story, an email banner, a Facebook ad, and if you hang around to the end, I'm going to show you one bonus one as well. And so if we have not yet met before, hi, welcome, my name is Jacqui, and I'm all about taking confused and time-stressed business owners who are struggling to use Canva, who are struggling to show up in their businesses and are struggling to make sales, into business owners who can confidently smash out any graphic their business needs or create their own branding in a way that's actually going to make their business sales and to scale their business. If that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well to stay tuned for all of my free content here on YouTube. Okay, so let's dive straight in. Firstly, I've got this cover. So this is the slide cover I'm using for a masterclass that I've run. If you would like to watch it too, you can watch it anytime. I'll show the details at the end, or actually I'll put a little QR code here. You're welcome to watch it. It is an incredible masterclass, got some wonderful feedback, but I want to show you how I'm going to take the cover of this and make it into multiple different things. So first up, I'm going to create a new design. So I'm going to press File inside my Canva and create a new design. I'm going to start off creating what's called a mock-up image of this. So I'm just going to open what's called a Canva Whiteboard. A Canva Whiteboard is a endless amount of space design, and it's just really great for just whacking things on that you don't need a specific size for. So I really love just having this at the start of a design so I can have it there to reference when I need to. I'll show you exactly how it works in a moment, but yeah, just pretty much press create new, click on whiteboard, click on whiteboard over here, or search whiteboard if you can't see it in your displayed options. And once that's done, I'm going to get my cover and put it onto my new design. So if I click on this little page down the bottom here in the thumbnail, I can copy this page to my new document. Now, if you can't see this little view of all your pages down the bottom, chances are you're on what I call scrolly view and not thumbnail view. So I'm going to click on this little pages button down the bottom and turn this back to scrolly view so you can see what that looks like. I can scroll down all my options, and if you're already on that, if you want to get back to the thumbnail view, you just click on that pages button again and it will show you all of your thumbnails. Then I'm going to click on the page that I want, right click on it, and then press copy. Then I'm going to open up my new design I've just opened up. So for me, it's that whiteboard. I'm going to right click and press paste. Now this design has now pasted itself inside my whiteboard design because Canva now allows us to have multiple different size designs inside the one document, which is wildly helpful, especially for what we're going to do today. So again, I'm going to toggle this so I can see the page thumbnails and I can see my whiteboard on page 1 and my slide cover on page 2. So first up, I need to export this design so I can put it into a mock-up image. If you don't know a mock-up image, by the way, this is what I'm talking about. A little mock-up that looks like it's real, but it's not really real. It's a mock-up. So I'm going to press share on my Canva, then go to download. And then if it's not already on PNG, change this to PNG. Then I'm going to select the page that I need. So for me, it's current page 2, press done, and then press download. That's then going to download this design onto my computer. I'm going to open up my whiteboard now, head to my uploads, press upload files, and select that file I've just downloaded from my computer. Once that's done, I'm going to click on that image and it'll insert it into my whiteboard. Then I'm going to make this into a mock-up. All I need to do is have this image selected, click on the edit option up the top, and move to the app section on the image options. Then I can click on this mockups. If you can't see mockups, you can go into apps over here and search for it, but chances are it's going to be right here, easy for you to find. This isn't going to give me a total range of options I can use for a mockup. If you don't want to do a computer screen, you could do a laptop or a phone or a postcard or a t-shirt, anything you like. There are so many options in here, but for me, I'm going to click on computers. I'm going to then hit see all, and you can see there's a whole lot of ranges where pretty much where this blue sky and mountain range is where my image is going to appear. So you can choose any of these. If there's one that matches your brand, feel free to do that. But for me, I like to do the ones that have a white background, which is actually transparent, which means I can then put this over anything I need in future promotional material. So I'm going to click on this computer here. When I click on that, Canva is going to add this image into the computer screen. You'll see that's just popped in there now for me. And I can then choose to edit this. If I wanted to move it around or make it larger or smaller, I can do all of that in here, and then you'd press apply. But for me, this is looking perfect, so I'm going to leave it as is. Now, if you wanted to do this in a slightly easier way, although that was quite straightforward, I'm going to insert that image again and show you an alternate option. Click, insert that in. Then I could also go to my Elements tab on the left-hand side here and scroll down to Frames, press See All, And then you can see this devices section. If you couldn't see this, you can literally just search it as well. So I could go to elements, I could search computer once I'm inside the frame search. And there's a little computer here. And all I can do is drag my image here into the computer screen, and it's also placed that in. The reason I like this one is that it looks more realistic, and it's also got some perspective because the computer's on an angle. This looks more real and more impressive in my opinion, but there is nothing wrong with this if that's your preference as well. Now I'm going to use these in some designs in a moment, but you can also just use these as is. For me, I've got on my sales page here, I've got a little mock-up of the laptop here. I also use this sometimes inside my email newsletters and sending them out to promote the masterclass. And so having this mock-up is a really great way to add a tangible feel to a digital product. A quick note on how to export this. If you need to get this out of your whiteboard, you can obviously add this into a design and then save out the whole design. But I'm going to teach you an even easier trick. So for me, I'm going to press R on my keyboard and it's going to insert a rectangle or a square. I'm then going to sit this over the top of my design. I'm going to make it clear by clicking on the color here and making it this transparent no color option where it's got the red line through the checkerboard pattern. And it's going to make that totally clear. Once that is totally clear, I'm going to click and drag with my mouse to select both the square and my laptop or my computer, right click and press download selection. I had to add in the square here because if I didn't, there would be no download selection option. So if you're not seeing download selection, it's because you don't have a selection selected and you need to have more than one object. So for me, I've got my transparent square and the laptop, and that's now allowing me to download a selection. So I'm going to press download selection and it's going to come up with this option to download. And instead of downloading a whole page, it's just downloading the selection that I had selected. So I'm going to choose PNG. And now the size will depend on what you are doing with your graphic. So if it was an email graphic, I would make this quite small and I'd want it to be under 500 pixels. You can also resize it here if you needed to. If you don't have Canva Pro, you're going to need to resize it here to being the size that you need. So download selection, and it's at this kind of size here, which is lovely. I might bring it a bit bigger now for me because I want it to be a little bit larger. This scaling option is only for Canva Pro users. And I would also select transparent background. Again, this is only an option for Pro users. If I didn't select this background, then it means that this laptop is totally got transparent background. I can see the background of my web page. If I didn't select transparent background, it would have a white box around it, which is why I love having Canva Pro. So I'm going to press transparent background and press download, and that's then going to download that as an object, as a file to my computer that I can use ongoing in anything that I need. But if you're also staying right inside Canva, we're going to just copy and paste this around to different designs like I'm about to show you. Also, if you are thinking about Canva Pro, I have an affiliate link down the bottom if you'd like to support the channel. All right, so next up, we're going to work on an Instagram post. This could be any social media post, but for me, I'm going to do Instagram. So first, I'm going to insert a new page into my design. I'm going to hover over this triangle little up and down arrow, press this button and choose a social media size that I like. This gives me a ton of options. I'm going to press social media and choose Instagram post. You can also search for whatever you need if you need a different size social media post. But for me, I'm going to do Instagram post. Click, and that's now going to open an Instagram post size right inside my document where it's got all of my designs that I can easily reference. Another option you could do here is by pressing, again, this is a Canva Pro feature, press these three dots here, and I could press resize page and it will resize this page to an Instagram post. So I'm going to show you both of those options so you can choose which one's going to work best. It really depends on the kind of graphic that you have. So I'm going to press resize page. I can type in here whatever I need. So if I type in Instagram, and I could choose Instagram post, I like the 4x5 version. And that's now going to say copying and resizing page, and it's going to look at my design and resize it for me. So now you can see this is on an Instagram size post and it's resized my design. Now, because I'd done this kind of funky thing with my picture here, it's made it a little bit trickier. If you had a normal picture here, you might resize it, you might put it down the bottom here. That's left over. You might put it down the bottom. You might even delete the graphic, the picture altogether. But for me, I'm going to move things around so it looks good in this new format. That's the tricky part of all of this. We're wanting to not create a graphic from scratch, but we do need to resize and tweak the graphic that we do have. So if the resizing option didn't make a perfect graphic, which this one it hasn't because I've got some weird space up here, some space down here, we're going to tweak it. So for me, I'm going to make sure I grab all of this text. To select more than one object, I'm going to click, drag, and select those, and then I can move these around however I want. So I'm going to bring this up the top. I'm going to make it a little bit larger by clicking on this circular handle in the corner to make sure that this is something that is going to be visible on a phone screen because it's an Instagram post. I'm going to grab this down here. For the sake of this tutorial, I think I'm going to delete the little lines and doodles around my graphic just to make this not too complicated for us. Then I've got these two layers. So for me, I've actually got two layers happening here. I've got me and the ball pit cut out in the background, and I've also got the background by itself. So I'm going to use both of these to create a kind of a cool graphic. I'm going to show you how to do that from scratch so you can see it from the beginning. So say you've got an image. This one's actually quite, if I was to click on it, you can see it's a wide-ish image. It's it's still portrait, but it can work. I'm going to actually bring this in. I've just double clicked to show that. I'm going to make it a bit wider, as wide as I can. And I'm going to put this in the bottom corner and drag it out. And it's going to start cropping the image accordingly, but that's still not weirdly close to my face, so it's still going to work. Now I could just leave that like so. This looks fine, but I'm going to make it a little bit fancier and make kind of this image here intersect with the background a little bit. So I'm going to click on my image, press duplicate. So I've now got 2 images, and I'll line up my new image on top of my old image perfectly. Then I'm going to hit the background remover. This is again a Canva Pro feature. I have recently released a tutorial on how to do this in Canva free if you'd like to go have a look at that. Now you can see I've got the background cutout version and my original version. So I'm now going to select my background version. I'm going to click on the position tool up here and toggle over to the layers panel. And I can see all the different layers. So I'm going to select this one here of me in the background and grab this little handle here to cut it in. So I'm going to do this and it's going to crop my image just like so. I'm going to do it so that the balls aren't there because I didn't background remove amazing. So I'm going to do it about there. And because I've got my background removed image and my background image, it's kind of done this really cool crop effect where I look like I'm popping out of the image into the design, which means that my text feels less cramped and makes the design look more professional and interesting with just a couple of clicks. Make sure everything is totally centered. I'm going to make this a little bit larger because I feel like it's getting lost in comparison to the large picture of me. So let's make this a bit larger. Just like so. Now at this stage, I would think through, is there any extra information someone needs to register for a masterclass? Because if I was promoting this masterclass, I might want to have this here, but I might want to share something more about it, like free masterclass. I haven't got that text anywhere. I haven't got the text of comment masterclass to register. I need some more information. So for me, I'm going to now add that in. So it's really important that when you're repurposing, you're not just taking the one graphic and making it different sizes. You're also considering where it's going to end up. So is it going to end up on Instagram? Is it going to end up as a flyer? What context does someone who is looking at that graphic need? Is there any extra information they need, or is there any less information that they need as they're looking at this design? For me, I don't need my logo here because when I post this to my social media, you're going to see my logo at the top of the post. It's just going to be there because it's going to say White Dear GD posted this post. So I'm not going to add that, but I am going to add in a little call out to say free masterclass. So for me, I'm going to rush through this part because this will depend on exactly what your design is going to be. So I'm going to hit C on my keyboard, insert a circle because I think it's going to be something a bit different. I'm going to grab the same effect that's on this box here, press copy style, paste it on. I'm going to grab this, maybe pop it a little bit behind my head. Behind the balls as well is probably not a good look, but it's all right. No, I'm going to put it on top of my head now, but make it a bit smaller because I don't want to take away from my design. We'll pop it there. Actually, going to pop it? No. Then I'm going to duplicate this text. Right, free masterclass. I even write like free Canva masterclass because that's going to get people in. Make that smaller and pop that into my call out here. I could add in more information. This is definitely quite small text. I could put masterclass as two words. And then I can make this a lot taller so it fits larger in the circle and pop that there. Now I've designed that quite intentionally to have good hierarchy. If you don't know what hierarchy is, watch this free masterclass because in there I give you some examples and some tools to make sure that your graphics are communicating the right thing at a first glance and not getting scrolled past because they feel irrelevant. All right, that's now done. My Instagram post, tick. Now Instagram stories is going to be a lot easier because my presentation slide was long and the Instagram post was a bit taller. Instagram stories is taller again, so that's going to make it easier to repurpose my Instagram stories. So I'm going to click on this one that I've already redesigned and click on the 3 dots and choose to resize the page. I'm now going to choose an Instagram story size. So you could also make this a reel if you wanted. It's not the greatest content for a reel. I honestly wouldn't do that, but I'm going to type in Instagram and do an Instagram story size. Click on this one, which is 1080 by 1920 pixels. Now it's going to resize that design into an Instagram story. And hopefully I need to do a lot less work to make this look good. All right, look at that. All we've got is some space added in the top and the bottoms. And now remember, this graphic actually had space down the bottom. So I'm going to drag this down as long as I can. Ah, perfect. Look at that. Don't need to do too much there. Might bring this one up a little bit. And to be honest, what I might do is leave space here to add in a link or a button so that someone can then click on this inside their Instagram stories. So I'm going to leave this design just as is. Done. That literally took me 1 minute to repurpose this design into an Instagram story. Now, when you're downloading these for Instagram stories and Instagram posts, you would just press share, download. And for me, I like PNG for this kind of graphic. You don't have to touch any other settings other than selecting which pages you want to download. So I would select this one. I would unselect all the pages by pressing there. Then select maybe this one here and this one here. or you can download them one at a time, or you can open even the Canva app on your phone and download them there. You can download them here and schedule them from your computer, or email them to yourself, or airdrop them to yourself. However you want to get these graphics to your phone and then sharing them, but PNG format will be the best way to do that. All right, now it's time to make an email banner. So I'm going to make my email banner like long and skinny. And so to do that, I'm not going to repurpose my Instagram post. I'm going to repurpose back starting at my presentation slides. So I'm going to show you 2 ways you can do the banner. First way is going to be quite simple. It's going to be pressing those 3 dots, pressing resize page. Also, if you don't have Canva Pro and you don't have that resize page option for all of these, you can just insert that new size. So say if I had my Instagram post and I could just copy these elements, just click and drag to select multiple elements, press copy, jump onto my page, press paste, and resize as needed. Move that along. Do the same thing with my background. Right click on the background, press copy, jump over here, press paste, and that's nearly there. I would just then grab my image and then paste that in here. And that would be how you would resize something. If you didn't have Canva Pro, you would just copy and paste the key elements and pop them across. Now let's do the email banner. So I'm going to press resize. And again, you could just make a new size graphic and copy and paste if you need to. I'm going to type in email. We'll see what kind of things Canva suggests here. It's got an email size here or an email header. This one's probably pretty good because you don't want to do email banners too large. If they're too large, they're going to take up too much space and it's going to mean it's more likely to get flagged as spam. So I always like to keep my email banners really small, even if the quality isn't 100% perfect. So email header, and it's going to now resize that into the email header size. So you can see it's done that now. So all I need to do is tweak things. So I'm going to bring this across to the edge so it's not cut off. I'm going to make this text a lot larger because you can imagine if this email banner was being viewed on a mobile, it's way too small. So I need to make sure that this text is really large. So I might even bring this over 2 lines. While I'm doing this, I should mention, if you do actually want really robust tutorials on every single graphic you need to make for your business that's longer than what I'm sharing here, I have a whole course called DIY Design My Biz that's designed especially to help struggling business owners who are feeling really overwhelmed with creating their business graphics and really unsure to create every business graphic they need, from your brand all the way to all of the graphics that are getting outworked. So if you need to make an email banner or a social media post or a mock-up image, you can go to module 8 and you go in there and it's got a separate tutorial for all these different graphics that tells you the strategy, tells you how to save, tells you how to start from scratch and steps you through the whole process. So make sure you hit that up if you're wanting to start really utilizing your time in Canva, creating really robust graphics that perform rather than kind of going around in circles. I'm just making all this a lot larger, knowing that if this was on a mobile phone, it'd need to be quite large to be seen. Right, that's really all we need there. That's looking amazing. Or I might even grab, if this was a promotional, if this was like a email banner that I put at the top of the email to say, congrats, you've signed up to the masterclass, this is enough. But if this is a promotional one to my email list to say, hey, you should sign up to this masterclass, I'm going to bring in this free Canva masterclass badge that I've grabbed in the other graphic and pop that in here too, just so that it kind of helps grab people's attention. I'm going to actually make the lines around this a bit thinner now that I've made it. It's quite such a small graphic. This is already taking away a little bit, but I think that looks all right. So again, if you want to download this one, you can download this by pressing share, download, selecting the page that you want. And you can do this either as a PNG or a JPEG. I don't mind JPEG because it's slightly smaller file type than PNG, which means that it's better for email. And you would just press download. So that one's good to go. All right, we're smashing through these. Only one more graphic to go, then our bonus graphic. Oh, hold on. I did promise doing an email banner a different way. So I'm going to show you a second option. If I press plus in here, it's going to make the same size graphic as my previous one. So this one here. I'm going to design this differently. I'm going to go to my page here, grab my background. So clicking on that, pressing Control C, going over here, pressing Control V and pasting in that background. Then I'm going to grab my mock-up image. So I'm going to copy this, clicking, copying, clicking, pasting, and I could just literally have my email banner something like this if I wanted to. Or something I did recently is I downloaded this as a moving banner. So I'm going to click on this little element here. I'm going to press animate, scroll down to wiggle. I love the wiggle one. I'm going to edit it to have the intensity being a lot more chill. So it's just really small wiggles. There we go. And then I'm going to make this, I'm going to click on the background here and change the animation time to being a lot shorter, because if I make it too long, it's going to be too big of a file. Maybe make this 1 second, or I could make it 2 if I wanted to, if I had a lot going on, but I feel like the wiggle's finished in 1 second, maybe 1.5 seconds. And then I can press share, download, and select, instead of a static image like JPEG or GIF, or JPEG, like JPEG or PNG, I'm going to select GIF, which is a moving graphic. So I'm going to click GIF, choose current page, press done and download. And that's now going to download this email banner as a little moving GIF, which is just a fun way to create visual interest in your emails. So that's now downloaded to my computer. And if I open this up, you can see it's got a little moving little laptop in there. It's just a great way to capture attention. You can obviously do 1,000 different ways of doing the animation, but that's a really great one. And you can see here that laptop text isn't super visible. This is more acting as like a capturing attention. I know I'll give more information about the actual wording later on, or I could choose to do this differently. But do remember that GIFs are very low quality, so the text you have on there needs to be quite large to be visible. All right, email banner done. Let's now get to a Facebook ad. So I'm going to click on this little up arrow again. I'm going to press more and see if it has, if I type in Facebook ad, what comes up for us here. You can see the different sizes here. I personally prefer just to do an Instagram post size because that's the best size for where I usually do my ad placement. So I'm going to literally click on social media and press Instagram size post. Or I could actually repurpose a design I've already made. So I've already got my Instagram post here and I could use this as an ad. And honestly, I would use this as an ad. I would have this already done and I would just say this as a PNG and save it as a Facebook ad. Or if I wanted to, I'm going to make a different variation. So I'm going to click on these dots and press duplicate. And I'm going to try something where I've got a stronger call to action. So a more hooky piece of text. So I might choose to write something like, not the best text, but you're going to get my vibe. You can kind of change anything you have in here. Feeling stuck in Canva, and I might just make that text really large instead, but I'm going to keep the rest of the design the same of like my graphic down the bottom or my photo down the bottom, or I could totally switch this out and use similar kind of background and colors. The idea would be that when someone clicks on your Facebook ad and then they go to your sales page, that it still feels the same, like they know that they've clicked on the right thing. There's that really cohesive customer journey. And so I'm keeping the look relatively similar, but you could experiment with changing lots of different things, but I like doing it quite simple. I'm going to leave the text-free masterclass there. I'm going to add some more text here for context. All right. Don't call me a copywriter, just something there to show you what we can put some text in. And I might choose to have that sitting down just below my my heading. And it's just a really quick Facebook ad. And you could try a ton of different like pieces of text here and see which one performs better. Do some testing and see what works for your business and your clients. So now for our bonus graphic, we're going to do a Facebook banner, because if you're like me, in fact, if I go to my Facebook page, I'm selling my course at the moment, so I've got this graphic up, but I've also had in the past, this exact graphic has been pretty much the promotion of this masterclass. So I'm going to go to, again, the most likely size graphic. So this one here is pretty good. I'm going to press the 3 dots again, go to resize page and choose Facebook cover. Now do make sure you double check this. I actually don't love Canva's sizing for Facebook covers. I have a whole tutorial on how to make covers for pages. So feel free to give that a watch to make sure you do this properly. Because the thing about this is oftentimes, if I pop a big circle in here, oftentimes your display picture is going to go here and it's going to cover up most of your text. So I often like putting the image on this side and the text on the other side. So if I duck back over here, I'm going to grab this text, this image of me over here and pop that over here and select these guys and bring that across. Now, because I've got this cut out over here, it makes more sense that brings into the text. I'm going to grab this and I would like to flip this, but because this is actually like a ton of different grouped elements, you can't flip a whole group. Oh, you can. There's a flip here. No, I don't think this is going to work. It's going to grab flip. Now, because this is a ton of grouped elements, I can't actually flip it as a whole. So I'm going to right click and do my download selection little hack I taught you earlier and download this. And then I'm going to be able to do the flip after I've downloaded it. So I'm going to download that and then delete that. I'm going to go to my uploads and bring in that little picture of me. And once that's downloaded, I'm going to click on it. And now that's in my design. I can press flip horizontal. And now that's going to be facing the right direction. Make sure that you don't do this if you've got words on your t-shirt or something. I've done that before for a client and it did not go well. We want to make sure that you can still read the words. All right, so we've got that sitting there. Let's leave free masterclass there because that's really helpful. Also noting that sometimes the edges of your design might get cut off on a mobile and the tops of the design will get cut off on a computer. So I'm going to keep this text all within that kind of area. So let's pop that here, put this back over 3 lines or even 4 lines. Put high and converting on the same line. There we go. And we'll put free masterclass somewhere that I know it's going to be visible. Make it a little bit smaller. Yay, and that's good to go. And so if I was ready to have that done, I would just download that again as a PNG file and upload it as my Facebook cover. So I hope you found that helpful. I hope that you are inspired that you can take your own graphics and repurpose them multiple different ways in a short-ish amount of time when you know how. And if you're feeling like she just made so many little decisions there and I can't get my graphics to look that good, come and watch this masterclass because this masterclass is going to go into 3 DIY design mistakes that you're making that are costing you clients. It's also going to go into a ton of Canva shortcuts, a lot of what I just did there, but I didn't tell you about, so that you can design quicker in your business business and spend less time in Canva and more time doing what you love. So make sure you jump into that masterclass. Hope to see you there. In the meantime, have a great time repurposing. Have a great time using Canva for all it's worth, because it is an incredible business tool that's going to help you connect with your audience in a really professional and trustworthy way. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week for another tutorial. Bye.